What if their fees went from them keeping 5% to 60% to 90%? Would you continue creating content? You still haven't answered my question. Let me go back to the question to you. So, does money going in free market create more value, or money going to the government create more value for people?
Explain to me what you mean by value.
Okay.
In a fiery showdown on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, Sam Seder dismantled Patrick's lackluster arguments on taxes, showcasing the flaws in his boring analogies. Let's take a look at some highlights and discuss. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe to help my channel grow, and stay tuned for part 2 of this video.
The way I view things is what's going to make things better for the most amount of people. And in terms of it being in favor of the capitalists, I would also change our tax policy. So, I mean, I would claw some of that back, quite a bit of it back.
What would you do?
I would return to the tax policy when we had the greatest, sort of the widest economic expansion shared by more people as a percentage of our population than any other time in this country, which was in the 50s and the 60s. And I would return to the tax rates more or less there. So your top tax rate at that time was 90%, top marginal rate, for every dollar over $470,000 you would earn. So that would be equivalent to around $3 million today. I think we should return to that type of tax
You want it
scheme.
to go as high as 90% at the top marginal tax
At the top marginal tax rate. So understand, that only kicks in with every dollar above $3 million.
I hear you.
The economic environment of the 1960s was a result of these policies that created a sense of stability and prosperity for the average American family. Sam explains this much better in the following clips, but first let's listen to a crazy analogy by Patrick.
I remember being in LA, and taxes top line had hit whatever the all-in was, 57.5. I don't know what the number was, around 57.5. You live in Brooklyn. So 57.5%. People are like, what the hell is going on here? There was this girl who was a top realtor in the San Fernando Valley area, one of the top realtors. Her picture was on all the benches. Everywhere you would go, you would see her. And she was one of the realtors making very good money. She's making $500,000 a year income, doing good for herself, whatever the number was, $400,000, $500,000. One day, I stopped seeing her pictures on the seats, and I'm at Wood Ranch with my wife, and I said, "Hey, you're the girl, right?" She says, "Yeah, I am." She's with her husband and her 2 kids. I said, "What happened? We haven't seen you lately." She says, "It's so funny you ask. My husband and I made a decision that the moment taxes got so high, it was more important for me to be stay home. It wasn't worth me working to pay this much in taxes." So there's a part of what he's saying. Yeah, whether he's going to do the movies with chimps and all that stuff. But there's a part of it that kind of incentive needs to be there.
America would not have suffered by the lack of Ronald Reagan movies. And I would also argue, I would also argue that, I guarantee you, there was no less houses that sold because that one particular broker stopped selling houses at a certain point.
Comparing the tax rate to one real estate agent who decided to stop paying to advertise her face all over the city is ridiculous. Let's watch Sam shock Patrick into silence while he explains the supporting evidence behind a 90% marginal tax rate.
So go to it. So right now,
I don't think that's a problem. I really don't. I mean, I think
to raise it to 90%.
Yeah, no, I think
top line,
what you're talking about is sort of the Laffer curve, actually, right?
Yeah.
You know the
you
Laffer.
Love the Laffer curve. You're a big fan of it, apparently.
I'll tell you what I love about the Laffer curve is that we had a perfect example of almost like a perfect model of what happens with the Laffer curve, right? Like the Laffer curve argues that the higher the tax rate goes, the less inclined people are going to be to generate income, and then because they're generating less money, there's going to be less tax receipts collected by the government. Art Laffer was Sam Brownback's #1 advisor in Kansas. Do you remember this when Brownback became governor? He basically gave over his entire tax structure to Art Laffer. They had it destroyed the tax base in Kansas. It ended up destroying their entire education system. They had an amazing Kansas university. Brownback gets plucked out of Kansas and literally sent to be ambassador to Ether. You know what? They made him ambassador to faith because they didn't want this guy around at all. The Republican-controlled Kansas legislature raised taxes back up because it had destroyed their tax receipts.
Sam is referring to 2012 when Governor Brownback implemented significant tax cuts in Kansas, inspired by supply-side economics that a lot of Republicans argue for today. What happened was disastrous. The tax cuts led to a revenue drop, economic slowdown, job creation lessening, forced budget cuts, and credit rating downgrades. In 2017, the tax legislation was reversed. Even with those undeniable facts, Patrick provides Sam with a ridiculous analogy in this next clip.
The theory may sound good, but it doesn't work in practice.
So are you on YouTube and Rumble or just YouTube?
I'm on YouTube. I think we put it on Rumble. I think we're also
cool.
on Twitch. And
all over the place. Okay, so
yeah.
Let me ask you this question. If YouTube took their AdSense from 55 to 15, would you continue creating content?
Yeah.
You sure?
Sure.
You'd continue creating content?
I wasn't doing YouTube for a long time.
How do you make a living today?
I have membership. That people pay. I get ad revenue from different places.
Okay, so let's just say the membership that you get from Patreon or whoever it is, okay? What if their fees went from them keeping 5% to 60% to 90%? Would you continue creating content?
I mean, I would probably have to cut back if there was that.
Exactly.
Well, but that's only because it's such a big change.
No, because that's the part about incentive, Sam. So your audience gets to enjoy you.
I'm not saying we'll cut the revenue for these businesses. I'm saying that the amount of
you
money...
have no choice, though, because you're paying these guys. You need the revenue.
No. I'm not suggesting we cut revenue for businesses. What I am suggesting is after that revenue comes in... and we divvy up and I have my net profits, then my taxes would go up. But I will say this, like if, let's say, the taxes went up on me personally, would I stop going on YouTube? No.
Based on the definition of marginal tax rate, Patrick's analogy makes no sense. A marginal tax rate is the percentage of tax applied to your income for each tax bracket in which you qualify. It only applies to the portion of your income that falls into a specific bracket. Sam would have better luck explaining marginal tax rate to a brick wall, made evident by our next clip.
So would you be able to scale it how many employees you got working for you right now?
I'm not talking about cutting revenue,
I get that. How many employees are you working for you right now?
We have payroll, I think, like 6 or 7
Okay,
people.
you got 6 or... That's a small business you got there, right?
Sure.
6 or 7 people. Okay. If all of a sudden AdSense went up, the fees for your Patreon, I don't want to offend you when I say Patreon. I don't know who you use. Whoever you use that's got your membership stuff that you got.
We use Fans FM.
Okay, there you go. That's a shout out to them. So Fans FM,
Right
Fans
there.
FM?
Fans.fm. It's actually a great service.
Okay, fantastic. So if they raised
They take
it,
less than Patreon.
if they take 50% all of a sudden, and they say YouTube says AdSense goes to 15%, would you be able to employ those 6 people?
No, if my well, I don't know, but probably
Maybe that's because you're rich.
No, probably not. But I'm not suggesting that we cut revenue for businesses. I'm suggesting that what is left over from revenue, if it's over $3 million that goes into the pocket of the owner of this enterprise, that $300 million and $1 gets taxed
Let's
at
have fun with this.
90 cents.
The higher marginal tax rate would not affect people who are under that threshold. I can't tell if Patrick is dumb or being disingenuous. Let's see what they agree on in the next part of the video.
Here's a question for you. And I kind of know what your answer is.
And I want to be clear on something.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. I subscribe to this not because I think that we need the money or that this is going to, be a panacea in terms of like how we would spend this money.
Yeah.
But I see in this country a massive problem with wealth inequality and the commensurate political inequality that comes with it. We have wealth inequality in this country like we've never had before.
I don't disagree. So there's not a disagreement there. But the solution is where we're going to disagree.
The disagreement on the solution revolves around the fact that what Sam is saying has actually worked in the past and what Patrick is saying was tried and failed. Patrick is arguing that massive tax cuts would help the economy and middle class. However, it failed in Kansas and also failed when Trump delivered tax cuts in 2017. When you lower taxes on the rich, they pocket the money. They don't give it back to working people. Trickle-down economics does not work.